The Nevis Island administration has fallen victim to a cyber attack over the weekend, Premier Mark Brantley reported on 1st February 2023. According to the Premier, the unknown attackers have denied access to NIA data and are demanding large sums of money to return access. He said IT technicians are working diligently on the problem and warned that some data will be lost and new computer mainframes will have to be purchased after dealing with the ransomware cyber attack.
To say that our team has been responding valiantly to this. We have already put out a press release to indicate what the issue is, and we will continue to keep the public updated. But this is an unprecedented situation for us. And we are aware, because we see it on the news, of organizations being
The Nevis Island administration has fallen victim to a cyber attack over the weekend, Premier Mark Brantley reported on 1st February 2023. According to the Premier, the unknown attackers have denied access to NIA data and are demanding large sums of money to return access. He said IT technicians are working diligently on the problem and warned that some data will be lost and new computer mainframes will have to be purchased after dealing with the ransomware cyber attack.
To say that our team has been responding valiantly to this. We have already put out a press release to indicate what the issue is, and we will continue to keep the public updated. But this is an unprecedented situation for us. And we are aware, because we see it on the news, of organizations being attacked by those who are bent on criminality and who steal your money hiding behind a computer screen. Well, they have now come at the Nevis Island government. I would want to publicly express my thanks to the Honorable Troy Liebert, who has been leading from the ministerial level the response, but also to thank Mr. Craig David, who is a brilliant computer whiz, I call him. He has been leading our effort from IT. He has indicated to me that he has reached out to professionals whom he knows, including, of course, our own Quincy Prentice, who's the head of IT at National Bank. And, of course, we've also been reaching out to Dion Herbert, who is an IT professional with Microsoft. And we are hopeful that through our outreach to these technical persons and others, that we have found some solutions, and we will slowly be restoring as best as we can the system that has been compromised. They are demanding large sums of money from the NIA. We clearly don't have that money to pay. In fact, if I were them, I would have gone and hacked somebody who could afford to pay them, because we're not in that position. We're doing the best that we can to pay our public servants and to pay our debts. We're not looking for new payments to make. But regrettably, that is where we find ourselves, a very serious situation, and one that warns us that these are battles that we will have to fight going forward.
Brantley said the Prime Minister has been informed of the attack and he has offered federal assistance if needed. Ransomware is a type of malicious software cyber criminals use to block access to a computer system until a sum of money is paid. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank ECCB has advised that effective the 1st of February, the operations of Bank of Nevis Limited, located at Chapel Street, Charlestown, Nevis, will cease, having been subsumed into the operations of the Bank of Nevis Limited. According to a press release from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Bond Bank Limited was formerly RBTT Bank, SKN Limited, and owned by Royal Bank of Canada, RBC. Under Phase 1 of the RBC acquisition, the Bank of Nevis Limited acquired 95.78% majority shareholding and 1,000 Class A shares of RBTT Bank SKN Limited on April 1, 2021. Subsequently, RBTT Bank SKN was renamed Bond Bank Limited. Under Phase 1 of the transaction, the Bank of Nevis Limited purchased the assets and liabilities of Bond Bank Limited. The banking business vetting order was gazetted St. Kitts and Nevis on the 31st of January 2023. Therefore, as of Wednesday, 1st of February, the release said, Bond Bank Limited will no longer operate and will become a branch of the Bank of Nevis Limited. The financial sector in the ECCU is evolving, the release added. Citizens and residents in our currency union are encouraged to stay abreast of developments. For its part, the ECCB said it remains resolute on its mandate to supervise all licensed financial institutions under the Banking Act. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips. Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, a rugged, beautiful shoreline, and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
Police confirmed the homicide of 30-year-old Sylvester Crossley of Halfwood Tree while he was in a fast food restaurant on Keon Street. Crossley was shot multiple times as he stood waiting in the restaurant, causing much chaos according to one customer who spoke to SKN Newsline. It is understood the individual entered the restaurant and attacked Crossley. According to a police press release, the incident occurred around 9 p.m. on Wednesday, 1st February, when a lone masked gunman shot Crossley several times about the body, then fled the scene. It is understood that the district medical officer pronounced Crossley dead at the scene, and the crime scene was processed by personnel from the Forensic Services Unit. Police are asking for the assistance of persons as they investigate the attack. Anyone with information can contact the Violent Crime Unit at 467-1887, 467-1888, 662-3468, or use the crime hotline at 707, where information can be given anonymously. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
A three-day International Monetary Fund IMF Economic and Financial Media Workshop ended on Wednesday at the Courtyard Marriott Resort in Barbados, attended by journalists from across the Caribbean, including from SK Newsline representing St. Kitts and Nevis. The workshop, organized by the International Monetary Fund and facilitated by Reuters Foundation trainers, was designed to train journalists on the basics in financial journalism and increase their knowledge on the importance of economic and financial reporting. At a brief closing ceremony Wednesday, journalists were presented with their certificates, which was preceded by brief remarks from the trainers and the IMF.
Both parts of this workshop were very useful to you. I hate to end it so early, but thank you.
We also learn a lot from you. We learn a lot by talking to you. What are the questions that you have in mind? What are the questions that are important in your countries? And that helps us as an institution to communicate better. So for us, it's also an honor to participate in this event. We hope that you will leave this seminar with new tools. We were particularly impressed with some of the tools that have been developed with the Reuters Foundation, and I'm particularly grateful to my colleague Randa, who has worked extremely hard to put together this program.
SKN Newsline spoke to some of the journalists that participated in the course.
It has been an absolutely informative session for me, mainly because even with my long-standing background in media, I kind of always was hesitant to even go into financial reporting and the numbers, because I wanted to know more about it to be able to present it to my viewers in a way that they would understand easily.
A very enjoyable and memorable experience. Firstly, being able to link with other journalists from across the region.
Especially in terms of networking with journalists from across the region, to see the different styles of journalism as well that each person brought to the course was really a remarkable experience.
It's very informative. I would kind of say it was career changing as well, because it made me get some sort of interest in the business element as well as the economy, economics, and of course the IMF. So it's a very engaging session for me.
But I liked it. The different aspects of the training were very good. I learned a lot, and mostly it was like a refreshment. It's always good to, from time to time, to have some refreshment.
The course was very informative. I enjoyed every aspect of it, especially the exercise part, because when you only do theory, it becomes very monotonous and boring. But when you go into groups and you hear the different ideas from your peers, it helps you understand the whole activity better.
Really good to be in the same room as journalists from across the Caribbean like that. Strong and assertive people who know the craft, know what needs to be done, and understand their role as journalists. And so that for me, it was good post-COVID.
It was an excellent opportunity to not just reinforce some of the concepts that we use every day in business journalism, but it also opened up the opportunity to think about different ways of treating with some of the business journalism items that we have presented with us, and expand our view on the work that the IMF does and other concepts in the global economy as it relates to business news.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips. Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, a rugged, beautiful shoreline, and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
The internationally acclaimed actress who played fictional character Shuri in the movie Black Panther expressed tears of joy as she attributed her achievements to God and family.
You may expect someone from Hollywood to have a certain way of being or carry themselves in a certain way. And as you see me, you see humility, and that's literally from my family, and that's literally from God.
The theme of the 29-year-old's speech was humility and the benefits of trusting God, as she reminded the importance of patience and being anxious for nothing.
And Jesus speaks of, when you are invited to the wedding banquet, do not take the high seat. Take the lowly seat. And wait, that no matter where you are going, no matter what your path is, please do it with humility and trust that God will exalt you when it's time.
Wright said that there were times when she felt like giving up, but her challenges drew her closer to God. The good intent westbound Demerara native thanked Guyanese for their overwhelming love, support, and hospitality. Meanwhile, University of Guyana Vice Chancellor Dr. Paloma Mohammed Martin proffered these remarks.
You, Miss Wright, are bringing to Guyana and the world your very sweet spirit, your unstinting integrity, your phenomenal talent and discipline. You are teaching the world about the power of peace, tradition, and science through art.
Dr. Letitia Wright was presented gifts by representatives of the university's student body and the Modern Languages Unit. The audience was graced with a musical rendition by Osland Rose, Faculty of Social Sciences, citation by Senior Lecturer Al Crichton, Faculty of Education and Humanities, among others. The extraordinary convocation ceremony took place at the George Walcott Lecture Theatre. Antonia Day reporting for the HEP 90 News.
The letter headed FTX Digital Markets Limited in provisional liquidation, citing financial circumstances for its inability to retain employees. According to the Employment Act, all employees are entitled to redundancy pay if they've been employed for at least 1 year, which would mean that they would be paid 2 weeks basic pay in lieu of notice and 2 weeks basic pay for each year. And if an employee holds a supervisory or managerial position, 1 month's pay in the same format. However, the employees were informed through the letter in part, due to the company's financial position, we are not in a position to pay your redundancy pay amount, adding the amount will rank as a preferred claim against the company. The Department of Labor up to today says they haven't received any complaints relating to the matter, and this is according to the Deputy Director of Labor, Tanya Sherman.
Once an employee is terminated or dismissed from the employment and the employer does not give them a severance package or a separation package, then more than likely the employee would visit the Department of Labor. We would listen to their complaint, try to reach out to the employer to advise them accordingly with the law. And if the employer is able to deal with it via phone, it's done there. If not, then the employee is invited to file a trade dispute to have his matter adjudicated at the Department of Labor.
The company was set to build its multi-million-dollar headquarters on West Bay Street, but construction was brought to a standstill when it was placed into provisional liquidation by the Supreme Court of the Bahamas on November 10th, with its assets frozen. And by November 11th, its founder and CEO Sam Bankman-Fried stepped down and filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The letter stating the last time employees were paid was the first 9 days in November through JPLs. Now, all of their employee benefits have ceased, and they were ordered to return all company assets, including cars, mobile devices, and computers.
What would have to happen is that once they would see that declaration, I guess, in the newspapers or what have you, they will have to reach out to the liquidator and put their names on that list, because, of course, it is a priority that they are to be paid once, I guess, all the assets are sold.
Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested in December 2022 in the Bahamas and is now on a $250 million bail package after being extradited to Manhattan, where he pled not guilty for fraud-related charges. Sherman says while the department wants to assist those employees, there's only so much that can be done.
The Labor Department is a conciliatory firm. We're not an enforcement agency, but we do our best to try and assist the parties, because we are neutral party. We're not on anyone's side, so we just sit there and both parties determine the outcome of the dispute.
Thousands of people gathered in an airfield in Kinshasa to celebrate Mass with Pope Francis. He's visiting Democratic Republic of Congo with a message of peace.
In a world disheartened by violence and war, Christians must be like Jesus. As if to insist on the point, Jesus told the disciples once more, "Peace be with you."
About half of Congo's nearly 100 million people are followers of the Roman Catholic Church.
The midday heat didn't put anyone off. It's sweltering here out on the tarmac of the runway, but people here really want to hear what Pope Francis has to say.
The Catholic Church has been a powerful critic of Congo's rulers since the 1970s. President Felix Tshisekedi wants to run for a second term in the elections due at the end of this year. The opposition and the Catholic Church say there are already problems with the electoral process. The leader of the Catholic Church in Congo addressed the Pope about it.
The people welcoming you today is a people suffering in its body and soul. Your visit takes place during an election year. We hope to see transparent, inclusive and peaceful elections.
After the Mass, Pope Francis met survivors of Congo's armed conflict, including those who've been raped and mutilated.
I make a heartfelt appeal to all the people that orchestrate war in the Democratic Republic of the Congo in order to plunder and destabilize the country. You are enriching yourselves through the brutal sacrifice of innocent victims. Enough. Stop getting rich from money stained with blood.
Pope Francis' next stop is South Sudan, where he's due to travel on Friday. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Scenes like this are an everyday routine on the outskirts of New Delhi. Dozens of labourers come to the street every morning to find work. They fix their wages with recruiters and head to the work site. Most of them are hired in construction. Aditya Pratap says he holds a master's degree but was forced to leave his village because his job doesn't pay enough.
It's very competitive. There aren't enough jobs. There are few government jobs and private companies don't pay well. It's also difficult for us to get paid on time. The government should fix a minimum wage for daily wage workers like us.
Millions of people in India are looking for jobs. Unemployment has soared to its highest level in 16 months. Urban areas are most affected, with 1 in 10 people out of work. Fears of a global recession are further impacting the economy. Exports have dropped in recent months. Industries like manufacturing and technology are hiring fewer workers. Projected to grow above 6%, India remains the fastest growing economy in the world. But this growth has disproportionately benefited the wealthiest, and the pandemic has deepened inequality. According to the latest Oxfam report, the richest 1% hold 40% of the wealth. The finance minister has announced the last government budget ahead of national elections next year. In it, the government says it will spend more than $100 billion to improve infrastructure and create jobs.
Current year's economic growth is estimated to be at 7%. It is notable that this is the highest among all the major economies. This is in spite of the massive slowdown globally caused by COVID-19 and the war.
GDP. And if you look
Some economists say the government should focus on manufacturing to make growth more inclusive.
Any country before us, they haven't taken off. They haven't moved from agriculture to services directly. They've gone through agriculture and manufacturing. Manufacturing is that platform, it's that prop which help countries get into middle income status and then to higher income status.
The economy is projected to bounce back in 2024. But that's a long way off for millions here who are struggling to get by now. Pavni Mittal, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
Jacqueline Williams of the West Indies is slated to officiate in the mega clash between India and Pakistan on Sunday, February 12th at Newlands, Cape Town. It will be the third Women's T20 World Cup for the 46-year-old from Westmoreland, Jamaica, and she will partner South Africa's Lauren Agenberg out in the middle in the matchup featuring two of cricket's great rivals. 3 match referees and 10 umpires make up a 13-woman officiating contingent, an all-female team for the first time ever at an ICC event, and it is part of the ICC's strategic ambition of advancing the involvement and visibility of women in cricket. The tournament is scheduled to bowl off on Friday, February 10th, with the host taking on Sri Lanka at Newlands. The West Indies begin their campaign the next day versus England at Boland Park in Paarl. It will be a tough encounter for the West Indies, who are on an unprecedented 13-game losing streak in T20 internationals, having last tasted victory in September 2022. A 1-run win over New Zealand at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, North Sound, Antigua. Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
Welcome to the SKN Newsline Weather Report. I am Janil Boole. Here is a look at the forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. For a more detailed weather report, visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com.